Welcome to my channel, where the scariest stories come to life. Before we dive into today's chilling tale, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, so you never miss a story. Now, let's get into the horror. My name is Daniela. I'm 19 years old, and I have a physical disability. I'm part of a group of people with the same disability as me. The group is run by an organization based where I live that helps people like us. The group includes local people and others from across the state, so we usually meet on Zoom. Last summer, the coordinator of the group, Marie, announced an in-person event lasting a week, which would be held in my city where the organization is based. The aim was to bring us together for confidence-building activities as people with disabilities and to meet those we hadn't met in person. Originally, only females were supposed to attend. However, two guys asked Marie to join last minute. We stayed at a hotel for convenience since it was close to the places we'd be visiting and the train station. On Monday, India, my roommate for the event, and I arrived at the hotel. Domingo, one of the two guys, was already there, as well as my friend Melissa, who is also from here. We mingled in the lobby as more people arrived. Domingo, a man I'd only met briefly on a phone call through his ex-girlfriend, introduced himself again. He had immigrated from Mexico and was taking English classes, speaking with a thick accent. I'm Mexican too, and Spanish is my first language, which I think made him gravitate toward me. That night, we had a pizza party in our suite. Domingo insisted on sitting next to me, even though his Spanish-speaking roommate was there too. After everyone left, India and I joked about it, and she teased that he wanted to be my future husband. I laughed it off. The next day, on the bus to the mall, Domingo brought up dating and told me he liked me. I immediately told him I wasn't interested because I'm gay and have a girlfriend, Fabiola. He seemed surprised and said, "I wasn't expecting that from a girl like you." He then claimed I was being manipulated into being gay by my friends and girlfriend and tried to convince me I'd fall for a man if one treated me well. I told him it would never happen. At the mall, Domingo stuck to me the entire time, putting his hand on my shoulder and following me even into Bath and Body Works, where I was with friends. That evening, when Melissa invited us to eat in the lobby, Domingo again called me over to sit with him. He kept questioning my sexuality and asked why India wasn't there, calling her crazy. The next day, while riding the train, he sat next to me again, hugged me, played a famous Mexican love song, and said he was dedicating it to me. When he tried to kiss me, I firmly told him no. Later, Solana, the mother of one of the group members, pulled me aside with Marie. They warned me that Domingo had a reputation for being a manipulative player. Throughout the activities, Domingo continued to invade my personal space, squeezing my knee, putting his hand on my shoulder, and sticking to me like glue. Friends thought I liked him because I laughed nervously at some of his behavior, which I now regret. I told Fabiola everything, and she urged me to tell Marie, but I brushed it off. One night, Domingo sent me a YouTube video about the perfect husband crossing another line. Fabiola demanded I report him, so I finally did. It turned out Domingo's reputation was worse than I'd imagined. He had dated a 16-year-old girl when he was 22, taking her to Mexico and allegedly manipulating her. He wasn't supposed to be part of the program but had joined because of his roommate. When I stopped answering his calls, Domingo sent a long text accusing me of betraying him by reporting him and claimed he never disrespected me. I forwarded the text to Marie and Solana, then blocked him. Please don't let anyone manipulate you, especially if they try to convince you that you're not who you are. If someone doesn't respect your boundaries, tell someone you trust to help de-escalate the situation. And if your loved ones warn you about someone, listen to them. Stay safe, everyone. For my first semester of college, I decided to study in Ireland. Since the legal drinking age there is 18, my friends and I decided to celebrate Halloween weekend by going clubbing. Our costumes were thrown together last minute. I wore a black corset, a miniskirt, and cat ears. We headed to one of the most popular clubs in Dublin, which was packed. The club had 3 levels. The basement played cultural music like reggae and Afrobeats, the main level was for standard clubbing music, and the top floor was reserved for VIPs. We started in the basement, where I got a lot of attention. As a young black woman in Ireland, I often stood out. By the time we moved to the main floor, my friends were already drunk and hanging out with their boyfriends. I decided I wanted to have my own crazy college experience and make out with someone at the club. A friend and I wandered around looking for someone attractive when a man, clearly much older, likely in his late 30s or early 40s, grabbed my shoulders and started flirting. He wasn't unattractive but definitely looked aged, with a man bun and a beer belly. He told me how beautiful I was and suggested taking me home. Despite his compliments, I wasn't interested. I tried to leave, but he followed me, calling my name and grabbing at me. My friends and I told him to stop, and we eventually found our group. Even with a crowd of people around me, he kept yelling things like, "I'll find you," and "just give me one night." Finally, security intervened, and we thought we were rid of him. Later in the night, my friend and I decided to explore the club again. We wandered into a series of small private rooms and got lost. That's when we saw him again, this time, running full speed at us, screaming, "I found you." My friend and I, drunk and foolish, thought it was a game and ran away, laughing. Looking back, I realize how much danger we were actually in. We eventually made it back to the main floor and decided to call it a night. As the club closed, the streets outside were packed. My friends were making out with various people, but I had sobered up and was ready to go home. That's when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned around, and there he was again. Before I could react, he kissed me and started touching me. For the first time that night, I felt real fear. I pushed him away and yelled for my friends, who immediately intervened. Security dragged him off, and we quickly hailed a taxi to escape. On the ride home, I was shaking, wiping my mouth, and crying. By the time we arrived at our student accommodation, I thought it was over, until we saw another taxi pull up behind us. He was in it. Thankfully, the accommodation had a gated entrance requiring a key card. As we fumbled to get inside, we heard his footsteps behind us. We barely made it in before he reached the gate. He started banging on it, throwing things, and spitting at us. Terrified, we called the Garda, Irish police. Even as we described what was happening, he stayed there, screaming and trying to get through. The combination of alcohol and anxiety overwhelmed me, and I passed out. When I woke up, I was in my roommate's room, surrounded by my friends. The Garda called me the next day for a statement, but I never found out what happened to the man. I'm incredibly thankful my friends and I were okay. Though this experience was terrifying, it didn't stop me from going out or enjoying life. Like my mom always says, take a day to dwell on it, then throw it away. Don't let it burden you. Stay safe out there, and trust your instincts. Thanks for sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to give the video a like and leave a comment with your thoughts. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a terrifying tale. See you in the next one.